I saw a picture. I just saw one picture of his room, so maybe there's more pictures. I hope. I'm sure there are. There's no. I didn't see any shell casings. Now,
1,000 shell casings. Where?
Where
are
they?
Show me a picture of the shattered glass on the ground.
There should be a fucking pile of shell casings about 4 feet high. He shot 60 bullets a second for fucking 10 minutes. Are you kidding me?
And they should be pulling bullets out of the asphalt, out of cars, and making each other off in the same fucking gun.
The bullets should be. The heat of the projectile should be burned into the carpet because of how hot it was. That you should be able to look at the ground and see that it has been disturbed. It just looks like a hastily put.
Well, there's never going to be tributes for the it's like, when did you guys put these tributes together for the Vegas victims? It seems like it's been in production for 2 weeks. Like it's fucking, when it's just immediately turned into a button or a pin and a song. It's fucking curious to me. It's like,
and why do they care if people get it wrong? That's why I don't. If someone's wrong about the Las Vegas shooting or something,
like, how's everything solved so fucking quickly? And like, I guarantee you this: Vegas, much like the Pentagon, more fucking cameras on the Pentagon in Vegas than anywhere in the world. But you're never going to see a plane hit the fucking Pentagon. You're never going to see a fucking videotape of that. And you're never going to see a video of this guy bringing all those fucking guns up to his fucking room by himself. Absolutely. You're never going to see that fucking. There's never going to be a real investigation. The story's already official.
Yes.
And there's a videotape that I watched. Videotape is on YouTube. I know, the VHS. The fucking vanilla envelope with the VHS tape in the mail today. Sent to Bud Friedman at the Improv. It's a cab driver in the Mandalay Bay. Turn around and you hear gunfire far away, and then you hear it right above them. And it's like, well, that sounds like two different places.
Two totally different guns, two totally different placements.
But you're a fucking psycho if you're buying into that.
If you say that, you're mental. First of all, this is an open. See, here's what's happening lately. You can have an open murder investigation, which is what this is, and you ask questions about it, you're immediately shouted down. That's not supposed to happen during an investigation. They haven't even concluded what the fucking real investigation is supposed to say. So that's exactly what you say. Super suspicious. Why are they taking down YouTube videos that question the official narrative? If those YouTube videos are wrong, who gives a fuck?
Right. Yeah. And so don't you want to like explore but the thing just fucking happened. Right.
Liam says, Jimmy, what's your opinion on fluoride in the water?
I don't appreciate it. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water, except chemicals that make it clean. I don't need them doing that. I know that. I don't do that, because then it leads the people to be suspicious. Just don't. There's got to be better ways. What do you think about it?
Fluoride in the water?
In the water. I don't feel good about it. Does that make me crazy?
Well, why do I need fluoride in the water?
Why do I need fluoride in the water?
Why don't I just get great water? Like when I get a
See, my big concern right now is no fracking fluid. That's like my first priority. No fracking fluid in the water.
I mean, I know for a fact they're putting fluoride in the water to reduce your fertility, to reduce your testosterone, to attack all your organs, and to shut down your thyroid. And look at thyroid disorders. They're off the charts. Walk up to a group of cops and tell them that they're drinking poison, and I'm the kook, I'm the weirdo, I'm the strange one that I'm warning people.
We all saw Hillary Clinton almost pass out when she was going into the van, and they first said she was overheated, and then they said she was fine, and they said, oh no, she got pneumonia, and then they said she was fine, and they said no, she's going to cancel her California trip. So there's been a lot of conflicting stories, so they lied about it. And I don't know if you saw the video. There's a video on this channel of her falling. She didn't fall like you would fall if you were fainting. She fell like you would fall if you're having a... So what was wrong? Like if you faint, usually your head goes, but her head didn't go. She was stiff. It looked like a neurological thing, like she had a spasm or a thing, because like she was like this. So she was like jerky, like someone with...
Are you a doctor?
I am not a doctor, but that's not how people faint. And you know why I'm allowed to... I give myself permission to speculate because they lied. So once they lie about it, now we all get to speculate.
Wow. She's got meningitis.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And you never listen to Alex Jones. Because I got to tell you, it's almost like you're ripping him off right now. Anyway, let's hear. What's your theory? What do you think he did? What do you think she did?
I think she has Parkinson's because she has a certain type of pneumonia that isn't. Because they were like, well, if she had pneumonia on Friday, she was out there meeting people and she was around kids. Why are you letting her infect people? And they go, no, it's a certain kind of pneumonia is it called aspiration? I think it's called aspiration pneumonia, which you only get, that's not bacterial, you only get that from Parkinson's. So that's the fact. The number one killer of people with Parkinson's is that aspiration. Can you look and make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly?
But wait. Go ahead.
Aspiration pneumonia. She's, I'll say it right now. She's got Parkinson's. So here, but what I want to do in this segment is watch how the news media is covering it. And by the way, Brian Williams, our main man, he's got a show again. It's called The 11th. Okay, it didn't almost catch her.
It did catch her.
It caught her. From it totally caught her. And we also saw the metal thing fall out of her pants, which I showed on another video that no one's bringing up, by the way.
What?
There was a metal. So people are saying that because if she has Parkinson's, that you lose bladder control, that she's wearing a catheter, and they've showed other pictures of it. You could see it through her pants. That's what they claim. Well, you don't know what that is, so I never brought it up. But then during this, I'll show you the video.
Yeah.
When she falls, a piece of metal comes out of her pants and hits the concrete, and you can hear it and you can see it.
Yeah, but catheters aren't.
But it's strapped to her knee. The way the drawings I've seen that to strap it to your knee is where they use a metal clamp or whatever. So here
she pees metal. She pees solid metal.
That's got to be uncomfortable.
She eats nails for breakfast and she pees metal.
God.
I've known Jimmy Dore for years, and I'm just now discovering that you are on the forefront of the alt-left.
All
right, let's hear this.
All right, so let's go. Okay, it was not hot and humid. There was a hot and humid spell of weather that had just broken the night before. So it was in the 70s when she got overheated. The high in New York was 80 that day.
But the humidity.
Oh, the humidity. So, and by the way, if she was so hot and overheated, why did they take her coat off?
Why?
I don't know why. I don't think so, because she wasn't overheated.
That's not a shirt. That's an ascot, and it doesn't cover all of her lizard skin. That's the problem.
She was having a Parkinson's moment. What was happening? So it wasn't overheating. So this is all BS. All right, here we go.
I still think, don't forget, I still think she had Parkinson's. It will come out in a few years that she has fucking Parkinson's.
It was pretty good, and I mean, if you're going to go with the Tower 9, are you a Tower 9 person?
You mean Building 7?
Or is it Building 7? Or
well, there is no explanation for that, and everyone just pretends like you're a maniac. It's that same shit. It's like it's the big lie. Tell the big lie. The exact. No, hey, has a steel structure fallen? Since from fire, since 9/11? No. Guess what? None ever fell before either. And Building 7 fell, and it wasn't hit by fucking anything.
What was Tower 9?
No, there was no. It was Tower 7. Building 7.
Building 7.
That's the building that no plane hit, but for some reason there was a little fire burning in it, and it collapsed.
That was, you know what that was? My Uncle Morty. Come on.
Now,
we'll blame it on the terrorists. We'll collect the insurance. That's all it was.
And there was that building. I forget what country it was in, but like they did.
Well, right. That's why I always find.
Excuse me. So with the Tower 7 thing,
Building 7,
the Building 7. I look at the people who are convinced Tower 7 was an inside job, and I want to have an abortion. I look at them. I go. I don't. This is too crazy. For me.
Not.
That's based on just.
So I mean, I'm not convinced. I just have. There hasn't been I mean, if there's an explanation, I wish someone would point me towards it, because there isn't one, and that I've heard. I mean, I'm not saying there isn't, but have you heard one, Paul? You're a pretty smart guy. You're a young man. You went to college, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I went to college. Now, David, you yourself did.
I went to college.
And you read the internet a lot, don't you?
Yes.
And sir, have you heard of an explanation for the Building 7 falling?
The popular mechanics, which dismissed the whole thing. They spent a lot of time going into it, and then the conspiracy buffs.
That is bull. I'll have to. You know what? I'll have to look up the popular mechanics Building 7 theory, because whatever it has got to be bullshit.
Popular mechanics.
No fucking
okay, what I heard, according to popular mechanics, that metal doesn't melt, steel doesn't melt.
Yeah, you have to get it at a certain temperature. Jet fuel doesn't even burn at a hot enough temperature to melt that guy.
For all of those
and that stuff
levels
was
to
fireproof.
collapse.
Yes. That stuff was fireproofed anyway. Those buildings were built to withstand a fucking jet crashing into them. And
that doesn't make
and
a
Chris
lot of
Matthews
sense.
didn't have anything to
Sorry.
say to it.
Call me Paul.
Oh, by the way, can I just very quickly, I got a lot of email about David Feldman and I talked about Building 7 and 9/11 on the last podcast. And people sent me links to here's popular mechanics and here's how they... And I didn't even want to get into the World Trade Center falling down. Like, I'll go so far as to say I'll buy their explanation of why the World Trade Centers collapsed. Even though it fell in 10 seconds and there's so many problems with the theory. I'll give it to you. Okay. The World Trade Center fell because 2 jets flew into it. Impossible, but it happened. Okay.
No, what I said to you before we came on the podcast was usually but there's obviously, like everything else, I say a but halfway through it. I always thought people that didn't believe about 9/11 in the beginning, I thought, discussion on it, 2 smart people. No, it's like, no, that's a fucking lunatic.
Well, thank you, Todd. So that's my point. Like, no, I think, first of all, there wasn't a legitimate investigation. The only investigation I know of was by a hand-picked panel that George Bush, correct me if I'm wrong, got to pick. Meaning Dick Cheney picked them, right? So, and then they didn't even mention, according to my facts, so people sent me these links about popular mechanics. They explained how Building 7 fell. So I went to the website and I read Popular Mechanics' explanation of how Building 7 fell.
And it sounds like it's probably going to be very detailed.
I'm like, okay, I probably won't understand most of it.
They'll probably have graphs.
All these graphs and charts.
Video.
They're going to show me how the building was constructed.
The geometry of it.
And which beams fell first and how it... It's 3 paragraphs, got to be maybe tops 50 words, and it explains nothing.
So it definitely
explains nothing. Totally fucking bullshit. And if anybody is satisfied by Popular Mechanics' explanation of what happened to Building 7, then, well, that's how Hitler happened. That's how Iraq War happened. That's how every lie that ever got.
So, but at the same time, you got to do it.
Yeah. Well, the more answers I'm getting, if it's in a calm way, like the 9/11 truthers always like tuned me out because it was like, well, how do you think, this element burns normally? I'm like, I don't know, man. And they always give you names of people that you didn't know existed.
Yes, yeah.
Then tell you about the weird circumstances they died under. And I'm like, I didn't even know that was a job position, let alone who that guy was or had heard how he died. So this is not, I mean, if fucking, I don't know, if Ron Paul suddenly died in something really weird as he was starting, as I knew he was starting a campaign against somebody, I'd be like, hold on, let's investigate that.
I wouldn't call myself a truther. I don't know that the government was directly involved with 9/11. Like, I don't think that they directly were involved. I think that when Building 7 went down, somebody was directly involved with that. Yeah. As far as that, I know that they did anyway, I don't want to get into that.
I think the government's capable of things, and I think that shoe bomber, from what I know of him, that got through, that TSA couldn't stop, that the FBI was aware, or CIA, whichever one, was aware of who he was. They got warnings from his father.
From his father.
Or something. I think they gave him a fake bomb. Because when you're like, oh, wait, he got through, he tried to set it off on the plane, and luckily it didn't go off? What awesome chance that was. Yeah. And it's like, well, no, his shoes got sweaty. How sweaty? What is it, filled with water in his shoes? What are you talking about exactly?
But if you say stuff like this, Ari, people go, oh, you're crazy, you're a truther. Oh, you really think George Bush would kill 3,000 Americans? Well, let's put it, this is what I don't understand.
Out of 370 million? It's not that big a number.
This is what I don't understand. It's like, we all agree, I think, that the Iraq War was built on lies, and it was because they just wanted to go into Iraq and get the oil, and we all know that.
So why not just say, listen, we're going into Afghanistan, but we're also going to dispose of what's his name?
Saddam.
Yeah.
He didn't have anything to do with, because they couldn't sell it that way, because people actually have to die to make that happen.
So they lied, saying weapons of mass destruction, and once we're in there, people are like, it's the war, we got to win it.
Yeah,
it's
let's just leave.
Let's just go.
So a person willing to start a war on a lie wouldn't also be willing to let 3,000 people get killed to start that war? That doesn't make any sense. He's going to start a war that kills how many American soldiers have been killed? 4,000 or 5,000, right? And but they wouldn't let 4,000 or 5,000 be killed in America. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So that logic doesn't make sense. And they go, well,
for me too, the logic has to always match up.
So all I know is that Building 7 did not come down because a plane hit another building next to it.
All right.
It didn't fall down.
Well, why did Building 7 come down?
If
they were like,
I don't know.
To the war, it's like 2 towers wasn't enough.
I'm not going to say
because I barely heard about.
Well,
Tower
they
7.
say in Building 7 there was lots of banking stuff in there. It wasn't the CIA. Wasn't there a lot of stuff for the CIA? There was a lot of like sensitive info in that building and all this stuff. This is what I've been. You know what? I don't know. We're left to speculate because the government didn't tell us the truth.
Yeah.
So I don't know why.
Like, I know what Fort Knox has in it. So if something happened to Fort Knox, I already know. But now you're telling me after the fact of these documents that were in Tower 7. It's like, just send someone in late at night and fucking steal it like they did at Watergate. What do you mean? You have to blow up a building for it and blow up 2 others as decoys? Or you knew they were going to blow up the other ones?
I don't.
You know what? Use that opportunity?
All I know is when you look at Building 7 and you look at the videotape, what do you think? Do you think that was caused by a plane hitting another building next to it?
I don't know. Look at that cloud of smoke just enveloping everyone. I mean, these people, nothing. They're building. That's it.
There it is.
Yeah, it does sort of.
Look at that. Look at that. You're telling me, come on.
God.
And they say, well, so Stranger Things. All I'm saying is that who are you going to believe, the government? Or your lying eyes.
You can't trust the government anymore.
Well, after they lied us into a war, why wouldn't they lie about that?
Yeah.
So that's the thing I don't understand. People think it's so crazy that they would lie about that, but they don't think it's crazy they would lie about a war.
Yeah, you lie about a war. You can maybe stage fucking this, or at least let it happen, or who knows? But they can do all sorts of stuff. The Bay of Pigs, I've always heard about that. Like they just made up some shit to go to war with people.
The Gulf of Tonkin. I mean, the whole Vietnam War was based on a lie.
And so, like, if they're willing to do that, you don't think they would take the extra benefit of a TSA? You don't think they would just allow that as one small? That's not even the main reason.
Last summer, there was a staffer for the DNC shot and killed. 4 o'clock in the morning. They said it was robbery, but he didn't take his watch, didn't take his wallet, didn't take his money, didn't take his cell phone. So it wasn't a robbery. 4 in the morning. So here's what Fox. So people are saying
on the case, police not confirming.
Well, I like they refer to it as a botched. The police refer to it as a botched robbery. Could there be a bigger botching of a robbery? You didn't take anything. They didn't take his wallet, his watch, or his cell phone, or his money. That's a boo. You could not botch it any more harder. You did kill the guy though. So you did the worst thing, which is worse than robbery. You killed a guy, but you didn't take anything. Doesn't sound like a robbery. Does that sound like a robbery to anybody else?
No, definitely not.
Why would they call it a botched robbery? Why would they just call it an unknown murder, or an unknown reason? You put a name to it, a botched robbery? What indicates that it was a robbery? Not a goddamn thing was taken. So why would it be a botched robbery? That's not a botched robbery is when they steal everything from the guy and they end up killing him. Then it's botched because you're not supposed to kill a guy you're robbing because that's worse than robbing a guy. That's a bigger charge. So that's why it would be botched. Something went wrong, they ended up killing him. You kill someone during a robbery when something goes wrong. You don't kill someone and not rob them. Am I wrong about this?
No, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, usually there has to be evidence that there was an attempted robbery to designate it
Zero
as
evidence.
such.
Why isn't it a botched rape? Or
why weren't they trying to botch sell him some mortgages,
Right?
bad mortgage? Why weren't
Right.
they could just put anything in there. It was a botched carjacking. He didn't have his car. So what? It was botched. So tomorrow an email was found. It is not a high enough bar of evidence to prove any interactions, as emails can be altered. And we've seen that those interested in pushing conspiracies will stop at nothing to do so. It sounds like you're trying to discredit evidence that will be found in the future. That's what this sounds like.
Yeah.
It sounds like this isn't what you think, even if you find evidence of it, Bauman said. That's what this sounds like, right? That's effed up. Even if we find evidence, it's probably fake. What? That's what that is. That's crazy. That is crazy that he said that. Washington Metropolitan Police Department has no suspects.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Didn't you say this was in a busy thoroughfare? Didn't you say there was like...
Well, it's at 4 in the morning.
4 in the morning. Now,
But I heard it was just, I'm not exactly sure. We saw in the report where the cops were standing, it looked outside of an apartment building. Go ahead.
well, we often see that there are video cameras for different homes for security and, businesses.
Yeah, I guess there's no video of it or if there is, it hasn't surfaced.
Yeah, I mean, he was coming back from a bar.
But that's what they say.
They're saying he was coming back from a bar.
At 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning. Washington Metropolitan Police Department has no suspects and no substantial leads. None. Really? That's also suspect. I can't imagine a high priority murder case for the DC Metropolitan Police Department than this one. No leads? No leads? Sounds like a botched robbery by some amateurs. That's why there's no leads. I'm suspect of that. This is that to me, this is red flaggy all over the place. Metropolitan Police, including the police chief, has refused to discuss the case, despite requests from Fox News dating back for 10 frickin' months. Why wouldn't they want to talk about it? Why wouldn't they want to talk to the press about a high-profile murder that's unsolved? I don't know. Maybe it's their policy not to talk about it. I don't think that's their policy. Steph, what were you going to say before about? So the speculation is that he was the connection with WikiLeaks. That's where they got the John Podesta emails. That's the speculation. That's why he was killed. This guy seems to think he has proof of it. This guy being Wheeler, saying that there's proof of the emails and that there's proof of. So
and we're still waiting to see it. It has not come to the surface yet.
Right. So we'll see. Julian Assange has definitely wants people to think there's more to this story than there is. He has never been proven to be a liar. Julian Assange. I mean, I'm sure he lies as much as the next person, but I'm talking about through his reporting, they've never been proven to be false. So,
can I just add a couple details because
you Wasserman Schultz and Hillary Clinton fucking torpedoing him, which is what they were doing. I think is it that crazy? Because they cheated. They committed the biggest election fraud in the history of our country in the primary in 2016, Hillary Clinton and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They had a conspiracy to cheat Bernie, and they did it. So now is it crazy to think that they have a conspiracy to fucking torpedo Gillum so they can say, look, progressives don't win? Because I know that sounds like an out there theory, but what is more out there theory than they fucking committed election fraud in 2016? A few people go, oh, they actually did that? Yeah. So to me, that is crazier than what I'm suggesting they did to Gillum. Anyway, my whole point was we were on board with Gillum.
The donors, do you get that? So what I think is happening here is that the Democratic Party has the same donors. They don't want Andrew Gillum to even win. I think Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Hillary Clinton want to screw him as the progressive and say, look, the progressive can't win. Why else would they be doing this to him? Why else would they make Andrew Gillum campaign with her? Look how unpopular she is. Her unfavorability, it's unchanged from last November, a record low, 36%. That's from October 1st. That's Gallup News. Hillary Clinton's favorability in the U.S. adults is unchanged from last November, record low, 36. So to me, this is the Democratic Party trying to undermine, just like he said before, they were undermining Bernie's. I think they're undermining Andrew Gillum's campaign, and this is how they're doing it. They're making him campaign with the most unpopular person in the history of unpopularity, who lost to Donald Trump, and then making him be seen with these people. That's also going to screw him. Look how unpopular she is with her own people. So that's my theory. That's how the Democratic Party is undermining a progressive candidate like Andrew Gillum.
I actually don't think that's a crazy theory at all.